One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. Let's talk Jets. March 4th, an impromptu Wednesday night edition of this, as our schedules are a little hectic over the last couple of weeks. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have the Breece Hall tag. We have the Germaine Johnson trade. We got a free agency preview. We got rumors. We got Jet Central. What's up, man?
What's up, man? For last show before free agency, we're going to talk some quarterbacks. But first things first, man, I appreciate you being able to do this tonight as opposed to, last night.
Oh, of course. Dude, we always work with each other, man. It's like the most important thing is we get a chance to talk about this because there's so much news to go about. So what do you want to start with, man? You want to start with the trade or the tag?
We can start with the tag.
Okay. The Jets gave the non-exclusive tag to Breece Hall, which was a lot of people were talking about transition tag. I think at this point, the Jets said we want to at least get something for him. It'd be 1 year, $14 million once he signs it. They still negotiate till July 15th, or it could be a trade, man. If he signs the tag and they figure out compensation, they could trade him. That's a possibility too. But as of now, Breece Hall's in the fold. Your thoughts, man?
At the end of the day, Breece is a good player. I do feel like at times he's kind of talked about like he's a top 3 back in football, top 5 back. So Matt, what's funny? That blanket right there that's behind me, that's a big heating blanket that I always put on for the cat. So that's why it always kind of looks all messed up. But it's funny, man, because no one sleeps in that bed. I sleep in the other, in the other room, and this bed always just kind of sits like that. So I always it's funny when people bring that up. But no, I mean, Breece is a good player, and end of the day, for a 3-win team to keep one of their best players, that's obviously a positive. Now $14.3 million is a lot of money. I think there are some questions against it, right? Where we're going to have to revisit it next season if we don't come to some sort of agreement with, Breece within I think that the deadline is actually July for like a possible extension. Yep. So, you run the risk of Breece maybe not wanting to sign the thing, and he's a holdout and can't. But the bottom line is he's going to be here, barring any sort of crazy trade or something like that. He's going to be here, and we're going to move forward with Breece Hall. And at the end of the day, he's a good player at a important position for Frank Reich offense. So, and by the way, we don't have a quarterback right now. So if you are, potential free agents out there, whether you're on the offensive side or defensive side, and you're just scanning through the Jets roster, it looks a lot better with Breece Hall on it compared to he's a free agent as well. So good player.
I mean, I don't like the 1 year, $14 million. I'm hoping they either find a way to get a deal done with him or trade him. A 1 year, $14 doesn't work for me, man. The value at the running back position, then you worry about a holdout and an injury, a distraction, drama, all this other stuff, dealing with the tag next year. So I'm hoping they get a deal done, to be honest with you. Just get something done. And then, like you said, he could be a building block for your offense. You want to build a nice core for a young quarterback. Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Breece Hall. You add a receiver in free agency. You add a receiver in draft. You got pieces to go there. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out and how Breece handles this, man. Like, how does he – is he just, does he hold out? Does the deal get done? Everything else. It's going to be really fascinating to see. But I think the Jets at this point, they had to tag him. They had a franchise tag him because you don't want him to walk for nothing. Once you decided at the trade deadline that you weren't going to trade him then for, I guess, was a 4th-round pick at that point, to let him walk now for nothing looked really foolish. So at least you had the leverage, you used it, and you see what happens going forward.
For sure. Yeah, I was actually at the grocery store last night, and I saw some dude wearing a Bengals hat, and we were talking a little bit about, just whatever, free agent stuff. And when Hendrickson came up in conversation, he was pissed. I can't even say what he said about the Bengals on stream, but he was absolutely pissed that the Bengals just essentially hung on to Hendrickson in a losing season where everyone knew that they were not going to make the playoffs. They hit the offseason. He's just going to leave. He was not extended. It was a big drama fest for nothing. He's going to walk. It opens up another hole that Cincinnati has to figure out. I mean, the defense was already not good to begin with. Now it's going to get, you would think even worse without Hendrickson. They didn't tag him, so there's no sort of tag and trade thing going on. And instantly Hendrickson becomes like a top. Yeah. I mean, some people have Hendrickson as the top free agent on the market, but I would say top 3, generally speaking. Anyway, he was very, 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 very upset and angry about it. We're not really in that position now with Breece.
Yeah, but we are. I mean, look at Quincy Williams. They could have traded him at the trade deadline. Now he's going to walk. You could have got some kind of compensation from him. It's like, it's interesting to see how teams handle things. I'm not saying Quincy Williams is the same level as Breece Hall, but you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to have the foresight to say, listen, they're not going to be here next year. They don't want to be here next year, or we can't afford them. You make the move. But as of now, Breece is here. You embrace it, and he's a piece to your puzzle. Where things get interesting is now, we talked about Germaine Johnson for a while this entire offseason. Like, what's going to happen? Could Saleh want him back? What kind of value would he have? 3rd round pick, 4th round pick? What's the market? He's in a contract year coming off a disappointing season. You go to the 3-4 defense, not a great fit for it. And boom, out of nowhere, here comes a trade with the Titans. He goes back to his former coach. Tavondre Sweat comes back, young, 2 years left on his contract, cheap deal. Prototypical nose tackle. What are your thoughts on this trade? I think this trade has several levels to it, man, to be honest with you.
Oh, dude, me too. I mean, I feel like it's such a massive win for this Jets team in just so many different areas. I mean, number one, as soon as this Jets team decided, hey, we're going to switch up to a base 3-4 defense, and they're hiring Brian Duker, who ran a 3-4, and Ryan Slowick, who was a part of that same Dolphins defense, 3-4, Carl Dunbar, 3-4. You're bringing in all these 3-4 guys. Glenn, of course, has ran that style of defense before in the past. That style of defense needs like a big time anchor, a big time nose guard. Like you need it. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, like all these, like you have to stop the run. If you're getting blown off the line and your nose guard position's weak, think about all those. If we want to think back to like the Rex era, like all those great seasons with him and, Snacks Harrison and whatnot, just having that just big time anchor right in the middle of the defense is a massive, massive, it's not even a need. It's like a priority. Like you must have that if you want to run that style of defense effectively. And Tavondre Sweat is that guy. Not only is Tavondre Sweat filling that need, but he instantly becomes the best defensive tackle on the roster. We don't have to maybe hand out a $6, $7, $8 million contract to a defensive tackle out in the open market because of this. We don't have to maybe go after, Katie McDonald or Lee Hunter, somebody like that, a Caleb Banks in the draft now because Tavondre Sweat's here. You mentioned it, right? He's still on the rookie contract for 2 more years. And obviously it's such a massive boost for this style of defense, but when you decided to make the switch to the 3-4, Germaine's value becomes a lot lower. Just again, generally speaking, within the confines of the defensive structure. So if you don't really view Germaine as a long-term building block, let alone a solid piece now for for this new scheme, try to move them. To be honest with you, I would have been okay with a 3rd or a 4th round pick.
Yeah, me too.
I did not expect that we can get a guy like Tavondre Sweat, one of the better defensive tackles or better nose tackles in football, for someone like Germaine. And then you kind of throw the cherry on top, the contract. I mean, you save so much money with Germaine. You take back, I think it's just over $3 million for Tavondre Sweat in total. So you can, like, in theory, say, hey, we moved on from Germaine, saved a ton of money, tagged Breece Hall at a pretty expensive number at 14.3 mil, and Tavondre Sweat's number, but like from a net standpoint, it's like we're paying Breece $3-4 million because we saved all that much from Germaine. Like, if we look at the cap right now, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of looks the same as it did before all these moves even took place. And I think that's a win in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, you got a young player under controllable contract that fills a huge need. But if we're being fair, we also create a hole too, where you get the cap space, yes, helps offset the Breece, but now you have Will McDonald as your pass rusher, and okay, and that's really pretty much it. The question I have for you is, everybody right now is like, well, we have to draft Arvell, Reese, or Bailey. We have to do that. I understand that, but you know what comes before the draft? Free agency. And there are several pass rushers that are available in free agency that you can go out and sign and be like, you know what? I feel a lot better about a pass rushing before I even get into the draft, which could, in theory, give us some flexibility. We're like, you know what? We don't have to get Bailey. We could go, hey, maybe Sonny Styles. Maybe we trade back. Maybe Caleb Downs. Like, do you think the Jets could take an approach of getting a free agent pass rusher to offset that desperate need at pick number 2 in the draft?
So I think we'll be interested in edge rushers, but I don't think that has anything to do with the second overall pick. I mean, I think right now the only 2 edge rushers on the roster will be Will McDonald and Tyler Barron, because Clements is a free agent. No more Jermaine Johnson. I don't know if what McGregor's contract looks like, because it's a 2-year as an undrafted free agent.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, bro, I'm just saying, it's not like, okay, we can take Reese or Bailey too.
Those days are gone, dude. The McGregor days are gone. We're moving on to bigger and better things now. So,
yeah. So regardless, man, the Jets will be active. They better be active as far as the free agents are concerned. And the good news, there's a lot of guys. And again, 3-4 defense. It makes a lot of sense for a lot of the free agent rushers out there. It makes a lot of sense for a lot of these different draft picks up at the top of the draft. Like, I feel like it's a pretty consensus way of thinking. Like, okay, Reese is better fit for odd man fronts. Bailey better fit for odd man fronts. Ruben Bain can play in either, if you want to go with him or he falls or something.
So what free agent signing, like if you had to rank your top 3 pass rushers in free agency, that would make, we could always have pass rushers, but could make the number 2 pick a less of a priority to get a rusher. Who would the 3 guys be?
I'm taking a rusher either way too. I mean, let me ask you, why do you not, or how should I word it? Do you just want more flexibility with number 2 overall?
Yep. Flexibility. And then like right now, it's like, as the Jets currently exist, like, you know what? I want to take 2. I want to take Bailey. I want to move on because we need that explosive guy, all this. If you sign somebody, like, all right, you know what? Maybe we can, maybe somebody else wants Bailey or Breece, or they want to trade up for Love or whoever. We could trade back and not sweat it as much and still get a legit guy, because pass rush is not a concern for us. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the best of both worlds here. I'm saying you don't have to do that. Like, you can get, I mean, we know the premium position is pass rushers. We haven't had them in forever. We finally have some. Some of them haven't worked out. Reddick, Germaine Johnson, whatever else. But I'm trying to have like a versatility. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, well, I'll say this. I kind of view Will McDonald as that rotational pass rusher now. Like that's kind of, to me, at least, the ideal fit for him. I don't necessarily want McDonald out there first down, second down, third down, first down, second down, third down, on and on and on. I kind of want to put him in to maximize his strength, which is attacking the quarterback, using his athleticism, flying off the line, throwing out the spin move that he does from time to time. Super, super exciting stuff. While at the same time minimizing his weakness, which is stopping the run and setting the edge. Yeah. I mean, he's under 240 pounds. He's one of, by the numbers, the worst runs, one of the worst run stuffers at the defensive end position in the entire National Football League, like bottom 5 out of all the edge rushers. I don't want to continue to put him in that position. I mean, yeah, of course, ideally, I would like him to get better there. I think everyone would want that, but just realistically speaking, if I'm in a position where I can just snag a beast, let's just call, say it's Reese at 2, and sign maybe like a Bradley Chubb on like a cheaper, sub $40 million contract, $35 million contract or something total, not annual, obviously, and go Reese and Chubb as your 2 starting outside linebackers, and then have Will McDonald coming in fresh legs. Yeah. He doesn't have to stop the run. He doesn't have to do all these crazy things. He could just attack the quarterback just like Bryce Huff did back in the day, like designated pass rusher.
So, but like, who would be your three pass rushers that you have your eye on going in the free agency? Like, if you had your first call on Monday, is going to be to who in terms of pass rushers?
Yeah, for pass rushers, I would say if you are in the market of dropping a massive deal, Jalen Phillips. I mean, talk is he's probably going to get 70 to 80 mil, or even, I mean, I've seen a couple contract projections north of 80, like 82, 83 over 4 years. And Jalen Phillips, obviously, he fits the defense. He's worked with Brian Duker, Ryan Slowick, two former Dolphins coaches. He's young enough. The sack numbers aren't there, but it's over 70 total pressures, which I think is insane. And I feel like the best is yet to come with Phillips. Like he's really going to blossom on his second deal, exiting his rookie deal. There's some talk that, Philly could want him back and stuff. But if you want to go out and drop like a ton of cash, I would probably say Jalen Phillips is the top guy. Bradley Chubb is someone who I feel like is perfect for the Jets, because if you don't want to invest, drop a mega deal, you can say, okay, bring Brad Chubb in. Not only does he have the experience working with the Jets coaches, but Darren Muji was part of the front office that drafted him, over in Denver. So there's a lot of info as far as how is he as a person? How does he practice? How is he in the locker room? Is he going to hurt the culture, help the culture, as well as fitting the defense and whatnot? I mean, Chubb's the guy who I feel like can give you, at worst, 6.5 sacks, but probably 8 to 9.5 a season, being a consistent, steady, not amazing, not fantastic, but just a steady, okay, I can stop the run, I can set the edge, I can get after the passer, I fit the defense, I'm not super, super expensive. So Bradley Chubb would probably be my number 2. Number 3 is interesting because there's a lot of projections, right? Like Odafe Owe is also someone who's being talked about. It's like an $80+ million contract. I don't feel comfortable if I'm the Jets doing that. Boye Mafe, from Seattle, he's coming off a 2-sack season, but the thought is, okay, if you give him more reps, because he was a rotational edge rusher, he's super athletic, he wins a ton of one-on-ones. If you give him more opportunities, he should, in theory, get after the quarterback a lot more.
A ton of pressures too.
Yeah, like those numbers should crank up, but he's never really had that dominant season. And he's another guy kind of in the same boat as Owe, where it's going to take over 70 mil. Personally, out of the 3 bigger name guys, I feel like Phillips probably makes the most. He's the one that I would feel the most comfortable with because of the connection with the coaching staff and whatnot.
Dude, what about Muhammad from the Lions?
So I feel, I saw, who was it? Rich Cimini or Connor? One of the reporters mentioned him as a potential fit. I personally felt like Muhammad would have been a really, really cool fit if we just kept the 4-3.
Okay.
Right. Because he's coming off the career season at 11 sacks. I've talked to a couple Lions fans. They all expect him to, because it was by far his best season of his career. He's 30 to I think he's 30 years
31,
old.
Yep.
31. A lot of Lions fans that I've talked to basically are saying like he's going to command a lot because this is like the first time he could really cash in as a double-digit sack guy on the free agent market. The price that was thrown out to me annually was 12 to 14 mil is like what he's going to be asking for. That just feels a bit pricey for me. If we're going to say, okay, you've had the one great season, you're 31 years old, and we're going to be changing the defense up to where you're going to be like an outside linebacker, or you're maybe going to kick inside and be like a defensive end in a 3-4, but you kind of need, I think he's only 250-ish pounds. So I would ideally want that guy off the edge in a 4-3. I just don't know, to me at least, if I'm willing. Now, look, if the Jets go out and sign him, I think he's a major upgrade over Clemens and the guys that we had. But,
that's not really saying a lot, man.
I mean, I see his name pop up, getting linked to the Jets all the time. But I just don't know if, again, changing the scheme, one good season at 31 years old, I don't know if I want to see a 3 to 4 year contract at 60-ish million being handed out. Like, whoa, yeah, he's an upgrade, yeah, he's gonna help, but I don't know if I would necessarily go down that route.
Okay, so in terms of salary cap allocation, where would you put pass rusher in terms of priority of spending big money? Because the Jets have a lot of needs, man. Wide receiver, safety. We're talking about all the spots, but like trying to go in position by position, where would you want to spend the most money as of now? Would you say, you know what, we have to invest in a pass rusher because we only have one in theory, or how would you handle that?
I'm not really, I just kind of look at it like the Jets have so many different needs: safety, corner, linebacker, edge rusher.
But what's the biggest bang for your buck on defense? Is this spending big at pass rusher, linebacker, safety?
It's tough. I guess we could just assume that Alexander, I don't know. It feels, I personally feel like the Jets defense has a lot of weaknesses right now. And because we're going to be changing the scheme, I just want us to cover as many bases as we possibly can in free agency. Then we go out and we hit the draft with the 4 picks in the top 44. And we don't necessarily have to reach on guys because there's so many good safeties on the free agent market, right? I could probably list off 5 to 6 guys that just make so much sense right now. If we come away from free agency and we don't sign one of them, or we just sign like Ashton Davis or somebody, and now like we're getting to the draft and we're like, okay, we got to reach on this guy, or we have to trade up for Thieneman or something like that. I don't want to be in that position. I just want us to secure as many major holes as possible. With that said, though, I feel like edge is probably the most important because it directly affects so many things. It affects the quarterback, it affects the running game, it affects basically how offenses attack the defense. And if we're changing our scheme here with all these new coaches, I don't want us to look around 2 weeks into camp and say, Reese is pretty good, and Will McDonald has a lot of potential, but I really wish we would have done something more at edge because we're a 2-man room,
Well, yeah, I think, in my world, the Jets should be very aggressive in free agency because they have a lot of holes and a lot of cap space. And I don't want to bargain basement shop. Get high level talent now. Like get more than just hold the 4 guys and band-aids. Spend the money. You have plenty of it and see what the best you can get. So pass rusher, an obvious concern. But now to me, linebacker is an enormous hole too because Quincy Williams is going to be gone. Jamie and Sherwood coming off a pretty poor year. And I think you need at least 2. And we're all you mentioned it before, like we're all kind of assuming Anzalone, which, okay, he's a leader guy, he's a culture guy. He's also a little bit older. If you had a blueprint for free agency for a very young Jets team, I want guys in their 20s, dude, 25, 26, heading into their peak years, not the guys towards the tail end. Like I saw the one report, like, oh, bring back Demario Davis. Why? Like we should have had him 5 years ago. Like this, but you know what I'm saying? Like this is the rebuild where it's like you want pieces that are gonna be here for a while. Like no more 1-year band-aids. Get answers to your problems. So at linebacker, I think we all assume Anzalone's going to come here. He loves Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn loves him. Culture, leader, impact, knows the defense. Almost similar to like what Bart Scott was for Rex Ryan. I think Anzalone could be for Aaron Glenn. But I think you need a second guy as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and so a couple points with Anzalone. I really don't mind that he's over 30. I think we almost need some just straight up adults in the locker room. Anzalone's not going to be posting his highlights after a loss saying like I'm really good, I think also too with Aaron Glenn taking over defensive play calling, he's going to want to relay his plays into someone that he's called plays before too with in the past. And Alex is like the perfect candidate to me to we're coming in and out of a commercial break and we're seeing Alex and Glenn on the sidelines. Like the defense is on the field. It's Alex and Glenn, going over their, plays or whatever it may be before he hits the huddle. He's the one quarterback in the defense, getting guys lined up, basically an extension of the coaching staff. I understand that he's on the later side of 30, but I look at the Jets. They're a really young team, but I kind of feel like a veteran. Like I really value Harrison Phillips. Yes, he's a good player. He's not a great player, but just his veteran experience. Like when he talks, I listen. And I think a lot of the young guys listen when Harrison talks as well. I think Alex can just be another one of those guys that's fully bought into the system where they're like, hey, it's Glenn's way or the highway. Like we're not putting up with this moping around Saleh era. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's not my fault. No one's taking accountability. I think Alex it makes a ton of sense.
So this is the problem I have right now. I agree with you. What do you think his market is? Like, what do you think his per year contract would be? Ballpark.
I think if he signs for a great team, he would go for like 6-7 mil per season. But for the Jets, it's probably going to be 9 to 10.
Okay. So you have Anzalone making that. You have Sherwood making what, 15 million or some ridiculous number. To me,
all right, go ahead.
To me, it's like I want to add another linebacker, and if he costs some money, it wouldn't necessarily bother me. But now it's like, how much money can you invest in the linebacker position? Like, I wish we could trade Sherwood. Like, I'm over it. Like, I'm good. Like, I think we know what you are at this point, and but I don't think you can do that. But go ahead.
Well, so I'm with you. I think if we could trade Sherwood, that would be really cool. If we could free up money, I don't know what the guaranteed money looks like with Sherwood. Obviously, he's not going to be a cut candidate, but What are your thoughts with drafting one?
Not opposed to that either. But
say like Jacob Rodriguez at pick 44.
Yep. Because this is a 3-4 defense, man. We need linebackers that can run, that can hit, that can do a lot of different things. And right now they're not on the roster. So in order to prove the defense, you want to be strong up the middle. It's just a huge need, I think, at this point. So if you don't want to spend money in free agency, then I think in the draft, it's got to be a priority, dude. Like a high priority. Like your first 2 rounds, you got to address it, not some 5th round flyer project and all this other nonsense. Like legit, make a legit commitment to the position.
Yeah, I mean, so if we're looking at it right now, okay, 3-4 defense, you got your 2 inside guys. We'll say it's Alex and Sherwood. Mawano will be on the roster. He'll be like a depth piece, but I still feel like adding one more, right?
Yeah.
Adding one more guys. And also too, like that, I think, like, again, Madden's standpoint, I think we can make the same argument for cornerback as well. Like that sounds like, okay, like it's decent enough. Sherwood, Anzalone, a rookie, Mawanoa, like that's, it's okay. But if Anzalone goes down with injury, all of a sudden we're like looking at the room saying like, geez, man, like what's going on here? Like this could be a problem. One player that's a free agent is who is it? Malcolm Rodriguez from the Lions. That he was on Hard Knocks. He had came out of Oklahoma State as the young guy who like really impressed Glenn and Shepard and whatnot. So he's going to be out there. Maybe he could be brought in as a depth piece. But yeah, linebacker, definitely a need. But I feel like, I want to say it's almost a lock that Anzalone is going to be coming in, but you got some teams out there that really need help at linebacker that are maybe in like more of a win now, like Tampa, dude. Tampa, like Todd Bowles, there's a lot of pressure on him. Like I feel like Anzalone makes a lot of sense for the Bucks, for the Falcons. There's some teams out there that make sense. Chicago too. Chicago, Edmonds just got cut.
I mean, I'm with you. I think with the scenario you painted out before, where it's like Glenn talking to Anzalone on the sideline, like here's the defense we want to run, being the captain, the communicator, the culture guy, like all of those different things. I think the Jets will probably pay a little more than everybody else. He'll want to be part of the rebuild and reinvigorate the Jets and save the Jets and all that. I'm hoping that's what it is. But there's also other guys out there that are actually better than him that may cost more money. But I just think that the Jets are Aaron Glenn's going to go with his guy. He needs that guy in the locker room that could speak his language and rally everybody around, because they didn't have that last year. They had a bunch of individuals that once the losing got worse, they all kind of mailed it in. It's like, all right, maybe see you next year. I'm going to be out here anyway. It's just, I'm just hoping they find a way to get rid of Sherwood. I really do, because it's just like, that's a lot of money. And if you can get rid of him, trade him, and replace him with somebody else, it's kind of, you're revamping your defense altogether.
Yeah, and like another thing too with the bigger name linebackers, I just don't feel Sherwood's one of the higher paid linebackers in football. Are you going to go out and sign Devin Lloyd to a $70 million deal with the amount of needs on this team? Are you going to sign, Quay Walker, who doesn't really, he can't really cover, like, to me at least, I don't feel like he's the best coverage fit. I feel like I would rather just pay Anzalone $30 million, $35 million total to come in on a multi-year deal that knows the system. One thing too about Anzalone is players and coaches love him. Like he doesn't take plays off. He really hits. He's built so. He looks like he weighs like an extra 30 pounds, man. Like you ever see a tight end try to run into him over the middle of the field, and Anzalone just doesn't move at all. Or if he's coming downhill and he hits a tight end, the play's over. Like the tight end doesn't even, like, these wide receivers, like they can't even get any extra yards on Anzalone. Like once he makes like big, initial contact. I think again, that's something that the Jets really, really need. And overall, Anzalone is and again, I understand his age, but coverage checks the box, leadership checks the box, run support checks the box. He could play, middle linebacker off the weak side. Like he can really move around. Even if you want to use him as a blitzing linebacker too, I don't feel like he's like this, suboptimal option. He's a really well-rounded guy.
Yeah, 100%. So we talked about, pass rushers have a need, linebackers have a need. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but safety to me has been a huge need for the Jets for forever. They tried Cisco, didn't work out. They had a love affair with Tony Adams. No idea why that hasn't worked out. And just like last year, there's a ton of free agents out there that are high level, like Pro Bowl talent, like significant playmakers that the Jets can pick up. To me, it's like Is this in free agency? Is this a day one move for the Jets? Like go out and get Cam Curl? Like, is this that urgent a priority where you try to get Anzalone done, but you go out and get that safety too on day one? Or do you say let the market play out and see what happens? To me, I'd rather be aggressive, dude. Like you need this. That's another culture changer for your freaking defense.
Totally, man. I mean, one really cool thing too is I feel like the Jets in the past have been a little weak up the middle or like through the middle part of the defense, right? I mean, outside of Q, I mean, you can even argue like when we had CJ Mosley, but we've had problems in the back end of the defense for a long time.
Okay.
I mean, we've really, again, in odd man fronts, like you got to kind of be strong in that middle part of the defense from like a top down perspective. So you added Tavondre Sweat in the first line, second unit. If you go out and you add an Alex Anzalone, you're getting I would argue a pretty big upgrade there, especially because Quincy didn't fit what the Jets wanted to do last season. And I'm going to say it's a foregone conclusion. He's not going to be back. And then if you go out and you bring in one of the top dollar safeties, which by the way, is not even going to cost all that much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you're really bolstering this middle section of the defense, which I think has been needed for a long time. And the cool thing with safeties, I mean, how many of them make sense? Off the top of my head, Brian Cook, Kobe Bryant, Nick Cross, Jaquan Brisker, Cam Curl. That's 5 guys right there. Like, you're telling me that we can't get one of them? I'm not looking at a list right now. I could pull up a list, but that's just like off the top of my head. Let me quickly just add.
No, you're right. You got Blankenship. You got a bunch of them. Brisker. I mean, there's a bunch of them, guys.
Dude, yeah, Reed Blankenship. That's another guy that you could probably snag for like $10-ish million per season, bro. 9 picks in 4 years for Reed Blankenship. That, like, talk about someone who can really turn the football over. You got Jalen Thompson from the Arizona Cardinals, someone who has a lot of range. Xavier Woods was just released from Tennessee. I don't really know if that would be the number one option that I would go with, but he's a name nonetheless. As a kind of backup rotational guy, Fatu Melifonwu and Ashton Davis is the third guy up off the bench. But
wouldn't you want one of these top guys though? Like get one of the higher level guy? Like who'd be the first? Who'd be the first one that you would call?
First one I would call would probably be Brian Cook. I think Brian Cook is the best one because I think he just checks the most boxes. He can play free safety. He can play strong safety. He can play in the middle part of the field. He can play as like a cover 2 guy. You can play him up close to the line of scrimmage. You can use him as a blitzer. Yep. He's been a vocal leader for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. He won a Super Bowl. He had the interception in the Super Bowl a couple years back. He's grown, right? He was a former second-round pick, and he's grown year after year after year. Well, he was injured early on, but he's been a player that's taken a lot of strides in his career. And Spagnuolo's defense really is, built off of communication and creativity and whatnot. And Brian Cook, to me, it's just like, okay, he has range, he has speed, he can play him really wherever. He doesn't have to come off the field. Problem is, you're probably gonna have to pay him 14+ mil per season, whereas maybe a Reed Blankenship or a Nick Cross, you can maybe get one of those guys in for 10 millish, 10 million a season. And I know it's $4 million and the Jets have whatever, $85 million in space or $83 million in space. But over the course of a 3-year contract, that's an extra 15 mil that you're handing out. So I want the Jets to be aggressive. I think Kobe Bryant would be a lot of fun too, like a rangy free safety who plays bigger than his strength or bigger than his size. He hits hard, not afraid of contact at all, will come in just like a heat-seeking missile, just as flying in as fast as he can, just will put his body on the line just to jar a pass loose. Really, really cool player, converted corner. He was actually the corner 2 with Sauce Gardner back at Cincinnati. He was the other guy opposite of Gardner, but recently was moved over to safety. So, I think Kobe Bryant would make a lot of sense, but we got to get one of them, man. We definitely have to get one of them.
No, I completely agree. Now, we'll go this real quick. Michael, first of all, thank you. Who do you think the Jets will pick at number 2? Right now, to me, it's like I'm in the mode where I want to see free agency first. I want to see what the Jets address and how they address it. And my board could change a little bit. I know you want to get best player available, but there's a lot of different ways this can go. So I'm kind of in that mode. I think right now I'd probably leave the Bailey over Reese, but I don't want Bain. I'll say that. But I'm really like I can make a case to trade back at this point if you handle free agency correctly.
Yeah, I'm going Reese over Bailey. I just feel like he's more of a complete player. I don't hate Bailey. I love Bailey. If Bailey's the pick, I'm going to be pumped. I mean, I feel like Bailey could be like a Brian Burns type of player, but Reese, I just think checks more boxes, more of a safer option, younger, higher ceiling. Um, yeah, I love Reese.
So now we talked about most of the defense, but a position we haven't talked about really much at all this entire offseason is cornerback, where you have AZ Thomas, who showed flashes, but unfortunately got hurt. You have Brownlee, who got traded for. He showed a lot of physicality, also a lot of penalties. Brandon Stevens surprised us, but it could be still, I'm probably saying it's a need, but is it a need where you have to spend money on the corner position, or do you want depth guys, rotational guys?
It's interesting, man. I mean, I feel like the good news is if the Jets feel like corner is a massive or a bigger need to at least be addressed, there's tons of options. I mean, if you want to go after the big name guy, like one name, two names I keep coming back to. Okay, with the bigger name free agents, Tariq Woolen, Seattle.
Really?
Dude, his length and speed, like his physical profile is just insane. Like the 6'4", long, just freaking long, humongous wingspan. His speed, his closing ability. He could play press man. He just feels like he's like a prototype corner, like built in a lab. I just feel like he's probably going to be getting paid a ton by a team like the Raiders, or I could see like Tennessee with Robert Saleh, wanting to make a move there and just dropping a ginormous contract. But Alontae Taylor, dude, someone who's kind of like a bigger, stronger Brownlee, right? Who can play on the outside or on the inside. But when he's on the outside, he's not like a size problem like because Brownlee's a smaller dude height wise. With Taylor, he's kind of a nickel corner, but he's 6 feet tall. And I believe he's over 190. I think he's 6 foot, 200 pounds. Like he's a big dude. And he could like bounce inside to outside. I think if you already feel comfortable with Brownlee doing that, like adding Alontae Taylor is like that to me gives you a lot of coverage, because Taylor, I think, would come in and you can argue he'd be the best corner on the roster.
What's his price tag?
See, the thing is with corner, I don't really, it's tough to project, because with Alontae, how do teams view him? Are you signing him just to be your nickel guy? Or are you signing him to be your corner one? I think he might have and I'll also, by the way, I think the Saints might try to push to get him back. Yep. So I don't know if he's for sure going to hit the market, but I think if he does, he makes a lot of sense for the Jets. Really, really excels in press man. Can do a lot of different things with Alontae Taylor in the running game. Like he can get off block. I like Taylor a lot. I mean, it's going to cost 10+ mil for sure. I would probably say maybe a little bit more than what Stevens got.
Which is fine. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, man. It's all pieces to the puzzle. If you have to spend the money, you have to spend it. But fine, it's all about finding core pieces and building blocks for the next 3 or 4 years. It's not like a 1 year, 10 million. It's not a Cisco deal. 1 year, 10 million. Now we got to replace him again. So I'm not opposed to that at all.
Yeah. Let me see here. So I'm looking at a contract projection right now. This one, hold on one second. So Alontae Taylor's 27 years old. And there's a couple sites that I like to use for the contract, like market value and everything. One site has 77 million total over 4 years. Let's see what this one is. But this site has $11 million per season, which is basically what Brandon Stevens got. So I would say somewhere in between. Again, I think his value kind of ranges because his role could change with no matter, depending on how defensive coordinators look at him. So I would say low end 11 mil, high end probably, I don't know, 16 to 17 mil if you're asking him to be your corner one to follow, opposing wide receiver ones. But I still like Taylor.
So how would you rank needs on defense? They have holes everywhere, but if you said to prioritize in free agency our biggest needs in terms of rank, how would you go from like pass rusher, linebacker, safety, and corner?
They're all important. I would say from a positional value standpoint, we got to get some more. We got to get some more edge rushers, man. We need to.
All right, so that's one.
Edge rusher would be 1. Safety would be 2. Linebacker would be 3. Corner would be 4. Yeah. See, the thing is with corner, it's like, again, on paper, right? Madden perspective, 17 games, no drama, no injuries. I think it's okay. Like Azari Thomas, like we could assume he takes like a small step up in his ability. He gets maybe a little bit better. I felt like AZ looked solid when he played. He just was constantly hurt. He's going to the blue tent and whatnot. Brandon Stevens, I mean, he's going to be getting one of those starting spots. Brownlee, I'm going to assume is going to be a starter. But he deals with injuries and he's still a young player. So it's kind of like one guy goes down and it's just like, okay, we're going down to the bottom of the depth chart to plug somebody in. So I mean, if the Jets want to, if you don't want to maybe go after a big money guy, you can go after Amik Robertson, who's another Aaron Glenn, Brian Duker guy, where he can play inside, he can play outside. He's going to be that coach on the field. Amik Robertson kind of has a similar mindset to Alex Anzalone with like leadership and stuff. And then you also have Jalen Watson, too, from Kansas City, who does really, really good things in press man coverage, super physical. And Kansas City, for whatever reason, ironically enough, they traded McDuffie today. But the one thing I always see with Kansas City is their front office doesn't like to pay corners.
Yeah,
they kind of view corner as we can just draft them, develop them with Spags. He always seems to maximize these DBs, and then we're going to just trade them for big time hauls. Like they did that. Who did they do? They did it with L'Jarius Sneed too, where they moved off of him. They traded him. I think they only got like a third rounder or something. I forget what they got back from Tennessee, but they moved off of Sneed before his giving him a mega deal, and they just did it with Trent McDuffie. So I don't see them bringing back Jalen Watson. I could see him bringing back safety Brian Cook, but not Watson. So he's an interesting one too.
Okay, so we covered a lot on defense. We look at the offensive side of the ball where you go offensive line where right now you have AVT free agent, John Simpson free agent. Do you see a world where the Jets go out and shock us all and get a center, or do you think they're comfortable right now with Myers and Tippmann as a backup?
Dude, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of Linderbaum talk, and obviously Linderbaum would obviously be a humongous upgrade, but I mean, what was the latest rumor? The Ravens offered him a historic record deal for the center position, like the highest all-time paid center, and he said no, which tells me he is going to be getting offered. I mean, the Chargers make a ton of sense. They have a ton of cap space. The Titans make sense. There's supposedly the Giants to reunite with Harbaugh. Then you can't, like, if Baltimore is already offering a big money deal, I would assume that they would want to,
Yeah, of course.
They're not going to pull it as soon as free agency starts. So you're going to have to go for a 3-win team to outbid LA and, Harbaugh, his former coach, and the Ravens. Like, you're going to have to go above and beyond. And to me, at least, the reality is Joe Tippmann can play center. Josh Myers can play center. I'm not with the Jets team that has 1.5 million holes. I'm not saying I'm going to spend $26 million a season on a position where 2 players on the roster can hold down the fort.
Yep. No, I completely agree with you. It's like a luxury item at this point where it's like, oh, that'd be great but it's just the Jets aren't in that position for that kind of caliber player and that money. So if you say they're okay at center, then we go to guard where it's interesting. The AVT thing's not going away. Like, oh, bring him back. Don't bring him back. What's his value? I think that's the biggest dispute for everybody where you're seeing people saying, you know what? He can get $15 million a year, $16 million a year. And I'm like, you're going to give that to a guy that had 3 of his 5 years, hasn't played a full season. It's risky as hell. And I don't think you're not going to get any contracts where it's like incentive laden, discounted price. I think he's going to get good money. So if you move on from him, how do you handle the guard position? Do you consider bringing back John Simpson? Like, what do you do?
I would, man. I mean, I would try to bring back Simpson just because, and I understand that it's not, the sexy pick, we're not dropping the $100 million Robert Hunt contract. He's not one of the best guards in football. He's not a super young guy, but I know who he is. And by the way, John Simpson seems to love Aaron Glenn. He seems like he's cut from the Harrison Phillips cloth where he's just like, he's all about the team. He will protect his guys on the field. One thing I see too with Simpson is like the amount of penalties, which he does need to cut those back a little bit, but 30% of his penalties this past season were a little, it's like a shove after the play. It's not like he's losing a step and he's holding, or he can't hang. So he looks confused and he's jumping, he's having all these false starts and whatnot. I mean, if you can just say, hey, no more stuff after the play, I don't care what's going on, no more stuff.
Yeah.
30% of those penalties, they're erased. So I think we know who and also too, man, John Simpson plays. He's durable.
Yep.
I don't want to jinx anything here, but like if you sign John Simpson and say, hey, can you be our 17-game starter? We literally saw that last season. And I think not many teams have continuity on the offensive line. The Jets actually do. Let's not run the risk of not bringing someone like this back for a cheap price and just saying, hey, you know what? The offense can't get off of the ground because of the left guard position being horrible.
Okay, so I agree with you there. I'd like to bring it back, or at least bring back somebody at his level to kind of solidify the O-line. But if you do that, does that take off guard in the first round of the draft? Like, say if you get to 16, your best guard's available at 16, do you still draft that guy, or does John Simpson give you the flexibility? Like, you know what? We don't have to go first round. We can go fourth round. Like, how would that change your draft strategy?
I think I would pass. I think if we had more positions figured, I guess I'll say this. I guess it depends. If we go out and we just spend tons of money, big contract, we're filling a bunch of needs, and it's like, whoa, it's night and day from pre-free agency to post-free agency. Like our list of needs is, dwindled down to one or two. I don't mind going BPA and going with the guard, but if we have an opportunity to maybe go out and land, say, a wide receiver or corner one falls to the Jets, or take your pick on whatever scenario happens, or you get a trade back call, right, where the top guard's there, but you want to value moving back instead. One thing I saw, and I don't know how real this is. It could be real, could be fake, but supposedly Caleb Downs has like this knee.
I saw that
situation, and it kind of feels like. And by the way, so the reason why I question it is because the team doctors coming out of the combine, no one had a problem with it. Mm-mm. So it kind of makes me think, like, was that just it thrown out there, right? You just kind of, lit a match and threw it in for like one of these better teams, maybe picking in the teens or the 20s that are just like, let's try to tank Downs a stock to get him, to us. I mean, maybe because like whenever you hear the word like degenerate, what is it?
Generative, yep.
Yeah, like that whole situation. Like that's one of the reasons why Will Johnson fell from Michigan, right? A knee that can't hold up over time, and he was projected top 10 pick, goes in round 2. So, I don't know if Downs is there. I think I'm taking them. I think I'm running that card up to the podium. But yeah, as far as guard at 16, I'm not completely against it, but I don't think that would be my first, 3 picks.
Yeah, me neither. So we have offensive line. We have running backs as of now. You got Breece Hall, Brown Allen, Isaiah Davis. You want to draft somebody later on, it's cool. Now we go to wide receiver, where to me, in my little reality world over here, it's like I'm thinking the Jets and free agency are going to probably try to stockpile on defense and may use the draft as a way to get their wide receiver help, because the wide receiver market in free agency is thin. A lot of teams need them. And in terms of being a ultimate destination for a lot of these guys, I don't think the Jets are the answer there. Where it's like, if you're Alec Pierce, why am I going to the Jets where I can go to Bills, Romeo Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson? Like, everybody wants the same 5 players. So if you had your pecking order of where you want to go, the Jets are probably 10 out of 5. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what it is. So
I feel like it's a decent amount of wide receivers, because I think it's pretty safe to say, like, if you sign one, you're not going to go out and sign another big, like for example, if you are the Titans and you get Wan'Dale Robinson, you're not going to turn around and go after.
Yeah, but how many teams? Everybody needs them.
So we can just go down through. Okay, so we have Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yep.
Juwan Jennings.
Yep.
Romeo Dobbs.
Yep.
Mike Evans. Alec Pierce. Well, but Mike Evans could be a need scratch off for another team, right? So Wan'Dale Jennings, Mike Evans, Romeo Dobbs, Alec Pierce,
Shaheed.
Yeah, that's a good one. Shaheed. Who else? Michael Pittman could be released. That's still up in the air, depending on if if Pierce gets brought back to Indianapolis, and also what's going on with the whole transition tag with Daniel Jones. There was another wide receiver.
Jalen Naylor, everybody's talking about too.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't really done much work on Jalen Naylor.
But the thing is, like, we're talking about receivers. We're talking about receivers that could be a high 2 next side of Garrett Wilson or a 1B, right? Is that what we're looking for? Because, like, if we're talking like fringe guys, like, like a little bit better than John Mechie or A.D. Mitchell, we're talking about legit starter opposite Garrett Wilson. You look at the higher end guy, right?
I mean, I think if you're the Jets, you got to be looking under every rock, for help. I mean, Calvin Austin's an interesting, kind of lower tier option from Pittsburgh, who, the Jets obviously have 2 coaches from the Steelers. Man, there was one more wide receiver that I felt pretty good about. Jennings, Dobbs, Pierce, Wandale. I mean, I still feel like this is a decent amount. I feel like Mike Evans is probably going to either re-up with Tampa
Christian
or end
Kirk.
up going to Keenan Allen's going to be out there. Christian Kirk, I guess. Yeah. I mean, Debo, Ayuk is probably going to be released. None of those guys really, feel like it's the right fit for the Jets, but they could be fits for other teams. For example, like Washington, the Commanders really, really want a wide receiver. If maybe they love Brandon Ayuk and supposedly like Ayuk only wants to play for Washington and he's down a sign there. And he's off the board, but now Washington isn't really pushing for whatever Jennings or somebody else.
I mean, I think to me, it's just I understand what you're saying. I'm not being disrespectful. I just don't think that the top 6 or 7 guys you just mentioned, I don't think any of them are coming here unless you grossly overpay somebody like a Jawan Jennings.
You don't think any of them are coming?
No, I don't. Because if you're Romeo Dobbs, do you want to go to the Jets or the Bills? You want to go to the Jets or the Chiefs?
Bills.
Of course. Like the passing game is you want to get your stats, you want to win, you want a good quarterback. The Jets can't really guarantee you any of that, especially now on March 4th. We don't have a quarterback on the roster, which we'll get to next. So to me, it's like I just have this feeling that you may get a decent, like say a mid-tier guy, wide receiver in free agency. I mean, not a Josh Reynolds, maybe a little bit better than that, but you're going to have to count on round 1 in the draft to get your guy.
Yeah. Well, so I'm writing down teams here. So Washington, Buffalo, San Francisco, Tennessee, Cleveland, Jets, Saints,
Bills,
Chiefs. Yeah, said Buffalo, Patriots. All those teams need help at wide receiver. You got to figure, okay, some of these guys are going to be drafted. Mekhi Lemon's going to be drafted somewhere. Jordan Tyson's going to be drafted somewhere. Carnell Tate. Yeah, it's another one. Does AJ Brown get traded?
Yes.
That's
he's gonna be a Patriot, dude. Just a matter of time at this point.
Patriot?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco feels like they have too many holes, especially with the whole Trent Williams thing seeming to fall apart. I don't know if San Francisco just dumps money into a wide receiver. I mean, maybe they try to bring back Jennings, but I feel like they should have already done that by now.
So you think the Jets can get one of these top guys, one of these top wide receivers?
Not so, like Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Ayuk, no. AJ Brown, no. But I think Jawan Jennings, that's the one I'm circling. Wandale Robinson, one of those two.
Yes, I don't see it happening. This is where my negative part of me comes out, where defense, I could sell a vision with Aaron Glenn and all the other guys where opportunities in defense. The offense for me is a really hard sell because you could talk about Breece and Mason Taylor on the offensive line. The most important position is a huge question mark. As of today, we don't have a quarterback. So if, we'll talk about this next, but if we go into free agency without a quarterback and you're calling Pierce and Robinson and everybody else, how the hell are you selling your team, dude? Like, we have a player to be named. We'll be throwing the ball to you, as opposed to teams that have established guys. I just think it's tough, dude. I really do. And again, if it's fine, but if you spend money on defense and every other position and you go in the draft with a huge need at wide receiver, you have you have a ton of draft picks you can use on a wide receiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what are the chances too? I'll say this too about the draft, man. It's like you got guys like Omar Cooper. I love KC Concepcion.
Yep.
So it's not just the big 3. If you can't get one of those guys, it's your SOL. Like, I think there's guys that make Denzel Boston. I mean, there's a lot of fans that love Denzel Boston and his game.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think one little bit of information that I heard from the combine, kind of behind the scenes, is that the Jets like KC Concepcion a lot. Not saying that he's going to be the pick at 16 or anything, but maybe there could be some movement back into the first round with someone trying to come up with for KC. But yeah, Omar Cooper from Indiana has been turning a lot of heads. Chris Brazel from Tennessee is someone who I really, really like. So yeah, man, I don't, as much as I see, I'll say this, like I want the Jets to target wide receiver, like Juwan Jennings, somebody, because that way we can enter the draft and say, okay, we're not crossing our fingers saying Lemon better fall to us, Tyson better fall to us, because we're so damn desperate. If we can just fill that need, Garrett Wilson, Juwan Jennings, AD Mitchell, and also too, the 3 first rounders next season, if we roll the dice on Mitchell first season, it's not the end of the world. Kind of same with like Malachi Moore.
No, it's definitely a priority. I'm just not sure what they could walk away with free agency from and say, okay, we feel comfortable with this. I think going into the draft, it's still going to be a need for them. So we covered those positions. To me, the interesting position is tight end, where we all love Mason Taylor. We kind of know what record is at this point. Is that something that you could see them making a move in free agency, or is that more of a dread? Like, I like Sadiq so much, dude, from Oregon. I think I was texting you throughout this whole year. I texted him like 10 times about him.
Yeah.
But is it something that you could see them trying to getting another guy in free agency in case Mason Taylor's banged up and you had that insurance policy?
Maybe. I mean, Charlie Kohler from Baltimore.
Everybody send
I don't think the Jets are going to be going like top dollar Isaiah Likely,
no,
or somebody like that. It looks like Dallas Goedert's on his way out from Philly. I mean, like, to me, with Rucker being tight end too. By the way, I'm not saying that no, the Jets shouldn't go after tight end because we have Rucker. I'm just saying, Mason Taylor was drafted in the second round. They decided to re-sign Rucker on a decent sized contract. And also too, man, like Frank Reich drafted Jelani Woods, a couple years ago. So
couldn't play him last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Does Frank Reich look at Woods and say, "Hey, you're good enough for tight end 3," or do we have to go out and spend $8 million?
This is where the Jets and their genius should have let him play last year more than the last 2 games.
Yeah, totally. But so Armand just dropped a bit of information, right? Jonnu Smith was just cut, and Big Alfredo's our new tight end coach, man. So maybe we have a reunion.
So I had to say this position for last. This is when we fight the most. The quarterback position, where as of today, the Jets have no quarterback. I mean, Justin Fields, I think, is going to be released. We could all say that. Brady Cook is what he is. The Jets need a quarterback. Now it's about what reports do you believe in. But a lot of these quarterbacks, which to me, when we first discussed these, I was like, cost too much money, can't do it. But now you have a quarterback at the veteran minimum, and your favorite player in the NFL is going to be available in Kyler Murray. So the super chat is K1 has to be the next quarterback of the Jets, even if you have to pay more than a minimum to get it done. He has put up good numbers on bad teams. No brainer. I think that is not true. It is not a no brainer. I want nothing to do with Kyler Murray on his team. I don't want him. I just don't, dude. I just, where the Jets are trying to go with this organization in terms of culture, leadership, building your offense and everything else, he's the opposite of what you want. He doesn't do any of that. Yes, he's a playmaker. Yes, he can give you a splash here and there, give you some excitement. I don't want excitement. I want stability. I want a leader. I want a two-year bridge and a mentor for a young quarterback. I don't want Kyler Murray, dude. I don't. You tried to convince me this entire offseason, and I almost fell into your trap. Top 20 quarterback, all this stuff. Even at $1.3 million, I want nothing to do with him. Absolutely nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that's your opinion though. But what Bob is saying is right. He has put up good numbers on bad teams.
So is Jacoby Brissett.
Not as good as Kyler Murray
last year. Oh yeah, look at what. Do you want to live 5 years ago or last year? Who was better last year, Jacoby Brissett or Kyler Murray?
Debatable. I mean, Kyler Murray played in 5 games, had more wins. Jacoby Brissett was 1-11 as a starter for Arizona, and I'm cool with Jacoby Brissett as well. But no, I think what Bob is saying is, you look at Kyler Murray.
It's not a no-brainer though. To me, it's not a no-brainer by no means. It's not a slam dunk. Like, you know what? I'm getting my guy. I'm so happy he's my quarterback. I'm not going to feel like that. I'm like, okay, what version of Kyler are we getting? Are we getting a disinterested guy, a lazy guy with poor work ethic? Or is he realizing what the label is across all the NFL? This isn't a fan thing. Like, you listen to analysts that are at the combine saying the stories we're hearing from his teammates are concerning. Like, there's so many red flags. To me, that's not a no-brainer at all.
So if you want to play devil's advocate,
I'll
and
play it.
argue, so I'm just saying, I understand that it's not the best fit for the Jets, and I kind of have the answer to this already in my head. But just posing this question, let's just say Kyler Murray, and by the way, for context, Kyler Murray is not some bad guy off the field. He's not getting in trouble.
Nope,
He's
nope,
not
nope.
getting, he's not skipping practices or,
Right.
fighting with coaches and ditching the team or any sort of
Right.
weird things like that. It's just a matter of, okay, is he mature enough to handle the position? So I don't want there to be, this context that he's,
No.
not a good guy. But let's just say, okay, he's not a leader of men. He still gives you a playable option that can put up functional numbers and look normal.
So can Andy Dalton. So can Jacoby Brissett. Like, to me, you're selling your soul for some flash and sizzle. Why would you do that? If you have a principle in your organization where you want guys that love the game of football and you want leaders and high character guys at the most important position on the field, you're saying, you know what? But just for him, let's change our rules for Kyler Murray. Why? Oh, he's cheap. So what? That means settle. Just like, I don't know, dude. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. I'd rather have a combination of Mariota and Brissett. I'd rather have freaking Andy Dalton. I don't care. I'd have rather like 4 or 5 guys over him and his flash and potential. I just would.
Well, $1.3 million isn't really selling your soul for Kyler Murray.
Selling your soul is when you sign Kyler Murray, he's your starting quarterback day one. He is. That's why he's coming here, because you got to keep in mind, he's also going to talk to the Vikings and talk to everybody else. So you got something, okay, listen, you come here, you're a starter. So you are selling your soul. He came here cheap. If your only reason to sign him is because he came here cheap, that's not the answer. Because the package that
it's one of the reasons.
Yeah, but you have that, and then the red flags kind of offset it. Like we just talked about, you want Anzalone to be the leader on defense. You want all these guys to bring the high character guys on defense. But your most important part on offense is going to be a guy that doesn't care about football, doesn't love the game.
Well, that you don't necessarily know if he doesn't like the game of football.
Okay, he's not the first guy in, the last guy out. He's not that guy. Which, when you have a young impression,
I mean,
but no, it's not fine, because this guy is here to be your bridge quarterback and be a mentor for your rookie quarterback and your young guys. Is that the guy you want leading your team? The guy that's not there, like the first guy in the room? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that. Well, in regards to how Aaron Glenn is looking at it, and also too, like there's some sort. I guess Aaron Glenn and Kyler Murray's dad are friends.
They're friends. Yep.
If Andy Dalton and Kyler Murray are your two starting out of the available quarterbacks, let's not even just limit it to Andy Dalton. Let's not even just cherry pick him. All of the options out there: Tua, Anthony Richardson, Levis, Tanner McKee, all of them, realistically. So no Rodgers and stuff like that. Cousins, whatever. Malik Willis. Who is winning the most games next season at quarterback? Out of all the options, Kyler.
That's a really good question, man. I'm not really sure. Jacoby Brissett.
You would say that Brissett gives you more of a chance to win than
Kyler?
Kyler?
I'll go like this. I'll say like this. Kirk Cousins, I think, doesn't want to come here. I'll just say that right off the bat. I don't want Kyler Murray. Derek Carr, I don't think he has the arm strength to handle the Northeast and going to New England, going to Buffalo, dealing with MetLife stuff. He's out. Mariota, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind Mariota. I don't mind Brissett.
I like Carr.
Yeah, I'm not so sold. Well, Carr, it's the contract. I just wonder about what his accuracy is and his ability to take a beating in this, in the Northeast. So that from a kind of discount him a little bit. Brissett, Mariota, Dalton, get 2 of those guys. Bring, if you want to go Dalton and friggin' Tyrod Taylor, fine. Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, fine. Like those kind of combinations. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I just don't think Kyler is just not on the board for me. Like, he's just not. Like, I'm not desperate.
You would take Andy Dalton and Tyrod Taylor over Kyler Murray.
Yeah. I don't like Kyler Murray, dude. I'm more about having a guy that can just stabilize this offense and run a competent offense. I don't need that splash play and that 60-yard running play. I want a guy that can complete a freaking screen pass and get the guys in position to know how to run an offense. And to be honest, if we're being completely honest with this, if you look at the Frank Reich prototype, it's definitely not Kyler Murray. And if he has a big say on your offense and your quarterback, he's like, that's out. Too short, not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't think it'll be Kyler Murray. I do think you. Yeah, go ahead.
But the other thing too is we look at this one-sided where it's like, oh, the Jets getting Kyler Murray. Would Kyler Murray even want to come here? That's the other thing. We look at all the other, we're going to talk about this too, but all the other positions that are out there, all the other teams that are out there.
Yep. And, we were talking about the leadership before with Kyler. Here's my big thing. And by the way, just for I'm not, I like to go back and forth with you, like just to, it's fun to debate these things. I think the big problem with Kyler that I have with the whole leadership thing, I think the video games thing is totally overblown. I don't even care about it. The thing is with me, how does he handle the New York media if we go on a losing streak? Is he going to be kind of moping around, pointing the finger, not handling it well? If we're, maybe if we start slow, or, maybe he's not really vibing with Frank Reich, does he dare mention that the offensive staff or the game plan or the play calling is not good enough? I don't want Murray to be a distraction like that. So in the end, I don't think Murray will be a Jet. And I think if Greg Roman became our OC, if we kept Tanner, if we hired Darrell Bevell, Kyler would honestly be my number one option, because I think he fits exactly what those guys want to do from a running standpoint. Bevell obviously won a Super Bowl with the shorter quarterback and Russell Wilson. They've been around that archetype of quarterback. But with Frank Reich, man, listen, all the reporters are talking about Glenn wants a head coach of the offense. Frank Reich deserves I would say the bulk of the say in regards to who he wants at quarterback. If I'm Frank Reich, I'm not coming out of, an opportunity with Stanford and signing on to a 3-win team to be their offensive coordinator, to be bossed around and say, no, here's your quarterback.
Yep.
You can run your system, but we're going to pick your players. The whole Bill Parcells quote, grocery store cooking. I forget exactly what it is, but
you want to shop for the groceries.
Yeah. I mean, if you're if you're Aaron Glenn, you go to Reich and you say, okay, out of these options, Brissett, Dalton, Tua, Kyler, Malik, all these guys, draft picks, are you in love with Tyson? Analyze everything. If Frank Reich says, okay, these are my options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you better go in order of that. Of that checklist, because I don't want to hear this, oh, well, Glenn wants his guy and Frank wants his guy and they're clashing about it. No, Frank Reich, in my opinion, if the Jets want a head coach of the offense and that's what Frank Reich is signing on to do, you better allow him to pick a quarterback that he wants and fits.
No, I completely agree with him. That's why I think, based on what we know about Frank Reich and his background and the players that are available, I don't think Kyler fits. And again, I understand the notion of what Kyler Murray could be. I think he's not a good fit for the Jets. And I think as a player, he probably doesn't want to come to the Jets. Now, Tua, no. The answer is just no for me with Tua. To me, it's like everybody's so fascinating that, oh, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. Okay. What player are you getting? What are you getting? What are you bringing him into? Is he a good, don't tell me you want Tua, dude. We're going to really fight right now. There's no way you could say you want him.
I don't think he'd be the worst. I mean, let me ask you this. Would you rather go for Tua? Let me just try to play devil's advocate again. Tua at $1.3 million on a 1-year deal, 1-year prove-it deal. I knew it was coming. I knew it was, as soon as you brought up Kyler, I'm like, when is that thing going to go up? Tua at $1.3 million, or would you rather pay Malik Willis 25 times that amount?
Yeah, that Malik Willis thing is interesting, because now there's some rumblings the Jets could be interested in him. And it seems like the market, everybody's saying 30 million. Now it's getting down to the 20 million, where it's like, maybe it could be like a Justin Fields kind of contract, but he's got what? It's like he's so friggin' inexperienced, man.
I mean, here's my, if you don't want Tua,
I'll answer the question.
I don't necessarily want Tua either, but I just don't feel like we can. Trying to put myself in the realistic shoes of how the Jets are approaching this thing. I don't think they're just going on the list saying no,
I am
not exciting, don't want him. Someone's got to play. Someone's got to be signed and suit up. Yeah,
but you have to narrow down who's available as to what your pecking order is, the guys that you want. So to me, as we're going through this, I'm nailing out guys that I just don't, that not on my list. The thing with Malik Willis is this. It's like, Tua is a guy that you think is a Band-Aid at best. Maybe get a little bit out of him, but he's probably a 2-year guy. If you pay Malik Willis, you're having visions of grandeur where it's like, all right, this guy could be our answer for the next 3-4 years, where you're paying him on potential, hoping to grow with Frank Reich and be a legit starter. That's what you're paying him for, right? You're not paying him for anything else. He's not your bridge quarterback. He's your answer.
Mm-hmm. But he's not a sure thing.
I mean, see what Malik Willis to me is the price tag on him. I'm not paying him $30 million a year. I just can't. You can't warrant that with the other options out there. You just can't.
So you're out on Kyler because you don't like him. You're out on Tua.
I hate him.
I mean, dude, honestly, man, like Tua, injury problems, weak arm, struggles in the cold, falls apart late in the season. Had some strange interview answers.
He's not made. He's not made, dude. Can we just say what it is? This Jets quarterback position, you've got to be tough, dude. You have to have concrete skin at this point. You've got to be tough. You got to be a leader. You got to deal with the media, the fan base, a lot of adversity, and everything else. You've got to be you got to be in a different place mentally to handle this job. Now, to me, it's like Tua's out, Kyler's out. Kirk Cousins isn't coming here. I just don't think he is. There's already, I think Brian Costello had the report where the Jets aren't interested in Kirk Cousins. I think they probably heard behind the scenes where Kirk Cousins is like, I'm not interested in you, whatever it is. But to me, he's out of the equation. So now your list is getting shorter by the day, where now it's, do you want to trade for somebody or do you want to try to sign a free agent? Now, here's my proposal to you. One of my biggest concerns going to free agency day one, which we talked about earlier, is that you want to get a receiver. It's very hard to get a receiver if you don't have a quarterback on your roster. If you make a trade for a quarterback now and have the word be out, listen, this is the guy we have in place. Just say for today, it's Jacoby Brissett. Jets go out and give a 5th-round pick for Jacoby Brissett. You got your guy. If you go into free agency, now you have a vision. This is our quarterback. This is where our offense is going to roll. Hey, Wan'Dale Robinson, if you want to come here, this is what we're doing. Instead of having that to be determined, is that something that could be a selling point for the Jets to kind of trade for somebody before free agency?
Definitely, because I think ideally you want to trade for somebody that has experience with Frank Reich and his system.
Yep.
Because you're going to need at least 2 quarterbacks, at least. And that's, I don't even know how freaking Reich feels about Bailey Zappi. Apparently Muji really likes him, but he's another one of those shorter end quarterbacks. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Jets bring in 3 quarterbacks. Could they trade for Andy Dalton or Jacoby Brissett before free agency kicks off? So you at least have a secure option who can run your system that knows the OC, where it's just like, okay, we're not going to be in, we're not going to be approaching free or hitting free agency saying, who's our quarterback? We have no idea. Right. So at least you'd have something in the building that is at least solid, right? He can drop back and hit an open pass. And then from that point, it's like, okay, now we have that guy in place. If it's Jacoby Brissett, I feel better about him actually starting the season. Dalton, I kind of view as a quarterback too.
Yep.
But it opens the door. Like, if you want to really pursue Malik Willis, okay, you at least have a fallback in Brissett or Dalton. And the reason why, I'm saying Brissett and Dalton is because those are the 2 guys that have that A, could be moved, and B, have a relationship with Reich. Or if you want to trade for a Tanner McKee or Spencer Rattler, one of these younger guys, and say, okay, well, we have a young guy with, some potential who can maybe be the guy who we like a lot, and, other teams and people around the league like him. We have our quarterback 2, our veteran, who's going to be supportive and help that guy. And then we come back in day 3 of the draft and pick like Drew Aller or, Cole Payton or Nussmeier or somebody like that. And so we kind of have the best of both worlds and just say, okay, by this time next season, if all 3 of them don't work out, we know exactly where we're going to be, which is probably picking up close to the top of the draft with the 3 first-round picks.
The other problem, too, is Malik Willis. If you get a guy like that, I would have to trade for somebody else like an Andy Dalton, because Malik Willis is a complete unknown, where it's like, all right, even though you're paying him, say, $25 million a year, if he starts bombing out in the first 5-6 weeks of the season, I want the ability to pull him and play a competent quarterback. So that to me is not the kind of way I'd want to go. But the same thing with Tanner McKee. If you go out and trade for Tanner McKee, who's highly touted now all of a sudden, I still want somebody behind him like a Mariota or a Dalton, because, again, completely unproven. Like, this is not a year where I want to see my quarterback fall apart and like, oh, let's play Brady Cook for 7 games and tank. No, I want to see the offense run to a certain level to see what we have out there. There's no more tank years here. You've got to be competitive and play competitive, competent football.
Yeah, I mean, and also we have to kind of talk about it like, because I'll see the comments from people on TV and radio shows stuff. Just tank. That is not how
No.
Aaron Glenn is. If the Jets start 0-6, I feel like everyone's gonna be fired. So.
Yep.
They're not approaching it like, oh yeah, we just take the year off, just go get the number 1 pick real quick and move forward. No, someone else is going to be picking that quarterback, right? If the Jets are in that position. So I feel like the Jets are going to be aggressive in free agency. They're going to be aggressive to try to get system fits and guys who they really, really want to try to turn around this team. One name I have for you. We didn't talk about him yet.
You start smiling. The minute you start smiling, I know it's going to be something that you're trying to piss me off.
Do you know what quarterback I'm going to bring up?
Geno Smith.
Yep.
I like Geno Smith, dude. I do. He probably wouldn't come back here. I actually like him. And the thing is, like, everybody sees last year how terrible the Raiders were. But look at all the things that went wrong there. It was a complete disaster where you bring him here. To me, Geno's like an older version of Jameis Winston. That's kind of where I'm at with him. Like, I would love Jameis Winston. I would trade for him tomorrow because it's like he can throw the ball. He gives you some excitement. He's a leader. He's a good mentor. Geno could do all those things, especially if you consider solid offensive line, run the ball with Breece. He's got playmakers, keep him in a controlled offense and not just playing like backyard ball. Geno'd be fine, dude. I'd have no problem at all with Geno Smith.
Yeah, there was a report that came out basically just saying that teams in the NFL are looking at Geno like, okay, the Raiders were just such a disaster that we're not really looking at you like you were the problem. You can make arguments for it. You can make arguments against it for sure. But Geno, I mean, if you want, dude, and I know we were texting about it. You want to go through the teams that need quarterbacks?
Yes, let's do this.
And play the quarterback carousel game.
This is our grand finale right here.
What team you want to start with?
Steelers.
Rodgers.
I agree. Okay. You can go. Pick the next team. Minnesota Vikings.
Kyler.
I think so too, actually. Now, is Kyler going to be the start, or do they want McCarthy and Kyler?
No, Kyler will start all year. McCarthy will not see the field if Kyler's on the team.
Okay.
They're bringing a franchise quarterback in K1. McCarthy's a non-factor.
Are we gonna say the Falcons are giving the job to Michael Penix or no?
Well, he's coming off the ACL. I don't know if 100% he's going to be healthy, but they're going to be in the market for sure.
Okay, so you had
I wrote down Atlanta.
Okay.
Who do you got? I got
Tua. Tua in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Stefanski. Yeah. And also, too, kind of an underrated point, but you don't have to flip the offense going from because you have 2 left-handed quarterbacks. So you don't have to have a massive, when you're constantly flipping back and forth.
Right.
But Tua, dude, to me, I kind of feel like he needs a season on the bench, but if Atlanta can say to him, hey, like you might start the year off, he fits Kevin Stefanski's system really, really well. I mean, that was kind of the hope with Dylan Gabriel is that he could be somewhat of like a version of Tua. If the Falcons can bring Tua in for $1 million or whatever, 1.3, 1.5. And then if he's playing well, he's going to continue on. But if he's unplayable or just looks horrible, then you can flip it back to Penix when he's healthy.
He's in a dome too, which would help him out.
Yeah, and so 8 to 9 home games, and then you get the game every year against the Saints, which is another dome team. Yep. So, yeah,
that's an interesting one. All right, so who do you have for the Dolphins?
Mariota.
Really? See, that's interesting.
I don't think they're going to dump money into the position, being like this desolate. I would say.
See, I'm not buying the smoke. I think that if they were going to take a flyer on somebody, I keep thinking Willis is going to end up there, but not for the money everybody says. Okay.
I just see the thing is like it just feels like Miami's blowing it up. So I don't know if Miami, like to your point, I don't know if they're just going to say, okay, Malik, here's the $25 million a season, because Malik's not going to sign a 1-year deal. He's probably going to want 2 to 3. So it's like a 50 to a $75 million contract. I don't know if they want to say, okay, Malik, you're our guy. We're going to put you out there all year with no offensive line, no weapons to throw to, and a defense that's like being reshaped with a rookie defensive minded coach, and just saying like, you're going to be our guy for the next 3 years. I just don't know if they're down to do it, but maybe. I also was considering Geno for Miami too, because he's from there. I could see him signing a 1-year deal.
So are you considering the Cleveland Browns an opening, or are you going to say Deshaun Watson's the quarterback there?
I had the Browns trading for Anthony Richardson.
Really?
Just kind of a little similar to Lamar as far as like the running ability. If you could get him on the cheap for like a 7th round pick or something, you can get Todd Monken, a mobile big arm quarterback that can kind of push maybe Shador Sanders a little bit, but isn't going to be brought in as like the guaranteed go-to guy. But yeah, Gino and Richardson were to Cleveland.
So you have Watson being released, or what do they do with Watson then?
I didn't even really factor that in. I mean, Watson's a $70 million cap hit. I have no idea how Watson comes into this whole thing, but yeah, I had Gino / Richardson for Cleveland.
Okay, so now the Arizona Cardinals, they got rid of Murray. They still have Brissett there. What do you have for the Cardinals?
Malik.
Okay, so now you're saying Brissett's gone?
Wait, who did you have for Cleveland?
Deshaun Watson. I think they keep Watson. They have Watson, Shador, and they draft somebody. They don't make any moves.
A big name guy like Simpson, or no?
That I didn't get that far. I was afraid there's gonna have like a competition with just. So with the Cards, you're saying they're gonna keep Brissett and have Malik Willis, so Brissett's kind of their mentor to Malik Willis.
No. Well, I had Malik Willis / Jimmy G for Arizona.
Okay. So then where's does Brissett stay there?
Well, we still have a couple teams on the list.
All right. Okay, what's the next team that you have?
Let's do Colts.
Well, see, that's what I had. I had Jimmy G there with Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones got the transition tag, right?
Yep.
So Jimmy G would be like the hold the fort guy for them, and then they have Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but Jones. Okay. I had Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins. I feel like Cousins could come in there for the short term. Because, dude, Indies, they got to get a playable option, man. Because Shane Steichen, even Chris Ballard, like they're both on the hot seat. And Jones is coming off the Achilles. That's not just he's going to be ready for week 1.
How much money are you going to allocate to the position? Like, if Kirk Cousins isn't going to, you think he's going to go there cheap?
Well, Cousins apparently has the offset language with the Falcons deal, so he could come in and sign the minimum.
Did he do that though? He's always like, I guess he would. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. But that's a curveball, man. Because you think Cousins would want to play, and once Daniel Jones is healthy, he'd bump Cousins off. You think maybe Cousins would want a little more stability?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking too, like all of the, like Shane Steichen again, he needs wins, and I just don't know if there's like is there a Joe Flacco reunion in Indianapolis? Because like
That's
Daniel
true,
Jones
too.
didn't tear his Achilles like Rodgers, where it was week 1 in first play, and he missed the entire season. It was at the midway part of the year. What were the Colts? 7-1, I think, or 8, something like that. Like it was the midway part.
Traver Sauce Gardner.
Right. So, like, even if Daniel Jones like comes back, he's gonna have no training camp.
It's true.
No practices under his belt. Like you're probably gonna, when he's ready to play, he's probably gonna have to take like 3 to 4 weeks of like working back into the first team. So I felt like, Kirk Cousins guaranteed to play or start half the year. Great running game, with an offensive minded coach in a dome, so he doesn't have to worry about the weather. And then you also don't have to rush Jones back.
Interesting. That's interesting. And it's interesting, too, to see what happens to Aaron Rodgers, too, because Aaron Rodgers, he played the whole game today. Like, I love Mike McCarthy, but I'm going to talk contract down the line. Meanwhile, free agency is friggin' next week. If Rodgers doesn't come back, do you think Kirk Cousins instantly goes to the Steelers?
Yeah, I don't really like the fit with the arm strength, but I don't know. I mean, Pittsburgh they could be a Ty Simpson team.
Yeah, but because they still have what's his face there too. What the hell's that guy's name? The backup, like a pitcher's face.
Will Howard.
Yeah,
or Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So how many teams we have left? We have the Jets are still left.
Yeah, I just have the Jets written down.
All right. So who do you, based on all of this, you're down to like Carr, Brissett, Dalton, Tanner McKee. All right. Give me who do you have?
I had Brissett.
Yep, me too.
Okay.
Well, what's your compensation though for him? 5th round pick?
5th rounder, I think is fine. 193 or wherever it's at.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. So if you had to rank your 3 options today, that your day one starter for the Jets on free agency alone, nothing with the draft, who would it be?
In regards to what I want or what I think it's going to be?
You can do both.
I'll probably say Jacoby Brissett's 1 because I think, the continuity with Reich, fitting the system, good teammate, playable. He's a bigger guy to where he can take a couple of hits. He's not some injury prone dude. Actually had success with Reich. It wasn't just like a quick cup of coffee. Like he played the entire season and the Colts offense moved. And also too with Brissett, there's no sort of weird thing going on. Like, oh, I want like if you trade for Mac Jones is going to be expecting like an extension. Davis Mills, same type of deal. Jacoby Brissett, it's just like, no, like, I know what the deal is here. So it's cheap 1 year. Well, we're moving forward. And also too, when it comes to trading picks, we have 10 picks in the class. So I really don't mind moving on from a couple of day 3 picks.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
At the end of the day, I don't like trading draft picks, but just realistically speaking, I know there's Brock Purdy's and Dak Prescott's and whatnot that happened on day 3, but who's going to be the better, who's going to make more of an impact for the New York Jets? A 6th round unknown who we don't even know who's going to be on the board, or a potential starting quarterback option?
Yep.
Yeah,
especially a guy like Brissett, who's an excellent mentor for a guy. If you draft a Ty Simpson or an Allen or whoever else, the guy, he's a professional, like a legit professional quarterback. Even if you went Brissett, Tyrod Taylor in your draft pick, it's a lot of leadership in that room. And it's like you have a professional offense now, which would be good. So, all right. So what was your top 3 then?
okay. So Brissett is probably 1 in both situations. I think Andy Dalton's realistic, man. I posted a video on it. People were laughing like, dude, Andy Dalton is, this is just like an agent thing. Like, oh, we're going to hype up Andy Dalton and, put the news out there. I think Dalton is a very cheap. I mean, he comes in with all the same boxes as Brissett. I just feel like Brissett's better.
Yep.
So if but the thing is, Arizona might just say, we're moving on from Kyler. It's not a for sure lock that we're going to get Malik. We're going to hang on to Brissett for a couple weeks. And do the Jets have a couple weeks to just wait and not do anything? So I feel like if the Jets want to quickly move, you can just go flip Carolina, some sort of day 3 pick. Carolina will be fine. They can sign a Garoppolo or a Mariota to back up Young, and move forward with the extra draft pick. So I feel like Dalton is super realistic for New York. But yeah, I don't really know who the 3rd option would be. I mean, I want to say Malik Willis because I was watching Malik Willis last night and I'm like, man, he looks polished, clean footwork, so much better than how he looked back in Tennessee. But I just wonder, like, going from backup quarterback to starting quarterback of the New York Jets, where you need to save jobs and you're going to be picking up a brand new offense and we're moving forward at $25 million a season. Like, that feels like it's a lot of pressure. Not saying that Malik can't handle it, because I mean, ultimately, no matter where he goes, there's going to be pressure on him to perform. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Kyler, I just feel like is going to be going to Minnesota.
I think of all the quarterbacks that are available, I think half of them we can kind of weed out that they're not going to come here. So like the list is kind of smaller. To me, I have it: trade for Brissett, get it done before free agency, 5th round pick. Call the Giants, man, and see if Jameis Winston's even an option. Maybe he's not a hardball guy. I understand him and Jackson Dart are great friends, and they have all these different things. But if Jameis Winston's available, fine. For number 3, it's Mariota. So I'd go Brissett, Jameis, Mariota, and then Dalton's probably 4. Derek Carr, I'm not buying it, just for a variety of reasons. Cousins, no. I think
Derek Carr could happen.
I think Derek Carr could happen for sure. He's got a relationship with Aaron Glenn. Like, there's, he may have that rejuvenated. We're like, oh, listen, I could buy into this and whatever. Malik Willis, too much risk, too much money. I think they'd be out there, especially where the Jets are at right now. They can't take that risk. Like, Malik Willis is a movie made last year. Like, the Justin Fields experience was like Malik Willis last year. Now you took that chance, didn't work. Now you've got to find a more stable guy that's kind of like, all right, we've got to get this stuff ironed out and that identify what our offense really is. Tanner McKee sounds great, but he's got no experience either, where it's like you need another guy. So That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Derek Carr is interesting because if he unretires, or sorry, if he doesn't unretire, I don't know if he can ever do it, right? Like, I don't see him sitting out another year and saying like, I'm coming out of retirement. I don't think teams are going to look at him the same.
No,
but I think if he's just 1 year removed, I think that's more realistic than 2 years being removed.
Now, is there a world where we can, like Teddy Bridgewater's name? I've always liked Teddy Bridgewater, but I'm not sure he would. I'd probably prefer Brissett. If you had to choose between Jimmy G and Brissett, like what are your thoughts on Jimmy G, man? He hasn't really played.
Yeah, I like Garoppolo, but I would rather take Brissett over him.
Yeah. And then you have guys like Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Trubisky. I think those guys, like if you wanted to go Brissett and Sam Howell, and then, I mean, fine, have a competition. I mean, I wouldn't care about that too much, but they're all just, I don't know.
Yeah, Armand, hot take. Derek Carr will be a Colt. Daniel Jones will be a Viking.
I don't think so.
The thing, I like that fit for the Colts, but the thing is with Daniel Jones in Minnesota, they can't really like they're making all these different moves, like Grenard potentially being on the way out, Hargrave being cut. Who else did they just cut?
They're cleaning house.
They just cut someone like right before the stream started. Harrison Smith could retire, or I think he actually is retiring. Like they have, they got to figure out interior offensive line. They got to figure out DB, safety, corner, as well as quarterback. So it's like, if you go and you grab a Daniel Jones, I don't know what the contract would be like, because it obviously has to come in because the Colts transition tagged him. That price point or like the offer sheet has to be, I would say, above that, at least a little bit above that offer, right? Or at that offer or a little bit more. And then Indianapolis has the opportunity to match it. But you got to feel like Indianapolis within these past, couple of weeks and months, like they probably talked themselves through like, okay, what could an offer sheet look like? What number do we feel comfortable to match? And also too, if Jones isn't ready to play, is Minnesota willing to pay Jones, let's just call it $40 million per season to not play and get healthy? Nope. I don't know.
Minnesota's in a tough spot because you're like in a win now mode. Even though they fired the general manager, they grossly underachieved. And with JJ McCarthy's been a disaster. I don't think Kevin O'Connell's got too many more. Like, all right, we can only win 8 games and underachieve again. They've got to win games, man, because your window's closing, and now you're getting rid of a lot of big name players. And so I don't think they can take a flyer. Like Anthony Richardson's interesting for them because I'm sure that'd be interesting.
I don't like that one at all.
With the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, he got like McCarthy, young, inexperienced, injured quarterback. Anthony Richardson, kind of the same, injured, young, raw quarterback. I feel like Kyler to the Vikings makes a lot of sense. I could also see Minnesota maybe flipping like a second-round pick for Mac Jones and them being the team that does it.
That's an interesting move. That'd be really interesting.
Because I think he fits that offense pretty good.
All right, so I don't know how the hell we did an hour and a half already of this, but my question to you is, we are less than a week away from the tampering period. You are now Ian Muji. You are running the Jets. You are the guy that's going to rebuild our organization, get us right back on track, or you're going to be fired this year. Who are the first 3 calls you make on Monday to free agents? Any position, anything you want to do.
Is Minkah Fitzpatrick released by this time?
That's a good question. I'll say no.
I'm going to go Brian Cook. I guess Alex Anzalone is kind of a default kind of answer. We have to throw.
You still got to make the phone call though.
Alex, Brian Cook, Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, I like Jennings too, man. But then what about you're not going to, you have no quarterback, or you're assuming that Brissett's already traded for?
Yeah, I'm bringing in one quarterback before free agency opens up.
Okay, so that's the caveat. That's where my caveat was too, where it's like, I've already going to free agency. Brissett's already in the building. That's kind of where I want to go. So
we don't have to wait until free agency opens up to go out. Like we can make a quarterback trade right now if we wanted to. Just like that's Germaine and Tavondre.
No, I'm in the same boat you are, where you have it's not a trade. Hold on. This isn't a trap. This is a free agency preview show We've got to get his insight of who he wants the first 3 phone calls to be. Now, why do you have a preference from hold on a second. Why Cook over Cross? Because Cross is younger.
Cook is, I feel like, more versatile. He's played in so many critical games, high leverage moments, Super Bowl champion, received great coaching from Spags, grew as a leader, a little bit older. I feel good about him being 27 years old and him being able, and not saying that Cross can't do it, but just mentally strong enough to walk into kind of a quote unquote dysfunctional team and say, no, this is not going to fly. I'm coming in from Kansas City. I know what great defenses look like. I know what Andy Reid looks like. I know how he operates. I'm going to help really turn this thing around on defense. Nick Cross, I like a lot. Nick Cross would be probably top 3 safety option for sure.
So then
24 years old, Frank Reich traded up for him to go pick him in the 3rd round.
Now, why not Cam Curl over Cross? I'm sorry. Over Cross. Over Cook.
I think Cook's the better player. I think I feel better about Cook as a center fielding free safety compared to Curl. Curl played a little bit more of that this season, but I feel like Curl really shines in the box. And I really want that safety acquisition that we're going to be bringing in for 10 plus mil to be, someone who can do a lot, but specifically someone who can be our starting free safety. Yeah. I think Cam Curl can do it, but I think Brian Cook just gives you more coverage throughout the defense. And I just like his overall, because if you go back and you watch him at Cincinnati where he played in college, like that was his position. And another thing too, man, he could really hit. Like when he flies downhill, he can really like pop people, like take helmets off. So I think he would just check so many boxes as far as range, positional versatility, leadership, success, knows what big games look like, plays well in big games, which I really like, could come in and jar footballs loose. If we're spending top money at safety, I don't want to try to save $2 million or save $1 million to get like the 3rd or 4th safety. I would just go, if you're going to be in that market anyway, just go after the number 1 guy. Okay.
If the Jets make a splash move that shocks us, what do you think it's going to be?
That shocks us.
We're like, holy, you got to be kidding me. Like catches like out of nowhere. Like what would it be?
Dude, this is a good question. Alec Pierce.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, it's gonna be something
Pierce.
Like
massive contract, like 29-30 mil a year. Alec Pierce. Yeah, Alec Pierce.
I thought the same thing. We're like, what? They got that? There's no way they could do that, and they completely overpay for him.
What? Admittedly, man, I do feel like Alec Pierce is kind of being talked about like Randy Moss. Like, he's good,
not that
but good. $30 million a season for Alec Pierce. Like, do you, in your mind, is Alec Pierce a top 10 wide receiver?
No, I don't think so.
Is he? Do you think he's a wide receiver 1? I think he's a really good. Like, I think he's probably the 2nd best wide receiver 2 in football behind T. Higgins.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, though. This would be a shocker too. If they go out and they get Linderbaum for $20 million a year, I'm like, what? That's crazy. I just don't think. Yeah, but this is a guy that I've always liked, Nakobe Dean. The injuries are always a concern with him. I watched him play with the Eagles. What are your thoughts on him fitting with the Jets?
Yeah, I think he definitely could. But I wonder if Quay Walker is a free agent for Green Bay. I wonder if Jonathan Gannon will try to get him because he's the new Packers DC.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
If he'll try to pivot, see a Quay, let me bring in Nakobe Dean. But also too, man, it's only Wednesday. Like, I wonder, like, dude, if Michael Pittman gets released, if someone like Darnell Mooney or Rashawn Gary gets cut from Green Bay, Minka Fitzpatrick's still roaming around. If Fitzpatrick's cut, that's going to be my top 3. Michael Pittman, he's going to be my top 3. So, I'm trying to think of another like big shocker move. Maybe like a mega deal for Tariq Woolen, like 4 years, 80 plus, just something nuts.
That would be wild. That would catch some. That'd be.
Yeah, he's probably going to be. I would guess one of the top 8 highest paid corners in football.
He's gonna
I
get
would
paid.
guess.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be interesting. Yeah, that would be. I think if they paid big money to a corner day one, I think that would shock me. Center would shock me. If they got Pierce, would definitely like those. If like they made a player the highest paid person at his position, that would shock me. I think the Jets are going to be players, but I don't think they're going to that level to break the bank and set the market.
Yeah, because one thing, and this is not a one-to-one super, simple comparison, apples to apples, but this team was 1-7 with Gardner and Q. I don't think one like Jalen Phillips at $85 million. Yeah, that's going to help. That's going to really do a lot of good things, but I don't think that is going to just take us off. I don't see us signing like one massive deal and then just like small 1-year options. I think that the Jets are going to be trying to get a bunch of guys that are signing like Brandon Stevens types of contracts, like signing 5 players between like 25 and 50 million.
Yep.
Something like that,
No,
to try to like lock in as many positions as possible.
All right, man. Well, we just covered a ton of what the Valen. Why, bro? Why? I have nothing left to send you, dude. I sent a big box of sweatshirts. I have nothing left to send, dude. Why? Why are you doing this to us? I have nothing left to send. I
think I might have a couple things to send, Valen.
I can send him a Jamal Adams signed jersey. Does he want that? I got Jamal Adams, Marcus May, Bart Scott. I got
a Zach Wilson one. If he wants that.
Yeah, I can give one of my goats. Come on, Valen, bro. I don't know what to do. Thank you, but I don't know what to do with this. This is just. Why does he do this to us? Why?
I think you got to send the goat, Matt.
I sent him a goat. I got a lamb too. You want the lamb? I got a lamb.
You got a farm over there.
I don't know what to. Thank you, man. It's just you don't have to do this, man. I don't even know what to do. Like this, I gotta find something to send him now. I have his address.
Yeah, I got some stuff too to send your way too, man.
That's crazy, man. it's just nuts to us.
Yeah, dude, it's absolutely insane. I mean, we're just sitting here talking football, and just to see something like that, it's just
the conversations we have on this, the conversations we're having now, we haven't text messaged all week long too. We argue in text messages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, Valen, man. I want to. It'd be cool to touch base, whether it's through DMs or email. I know you mentioned that you don't have social media, but it'd be cool to just talk ball and stuff like that too, man.
I got his email, dude. I'll send you his email. I got.
Yeah, I have his
email.
Yeah, I have his email too, but I don't. Sometimes email it's just it takes a long time to get back and forth with people.
So first of all, thank you guys all very much for joining us tonight. It was a random Wednesday. We had a change from yesterday. Next week, big week though, because now free agency starts. I'm sure you'll be live streaming like crazy. I'll be next week on Tuesday. We'll be on his channel, and I'm probably going to stream. I'm off Monday and Tuesday, so I'm going to be all to stream as much as I can the next couple of days. So thank you for all the support, Valen. You're killing me, dude. It just drives me crazy. Any last words? Any last predictions before we go?
Yeah, man. Last stream before the offseason really starts kicking off, man. I mean, that Germaine Johnson, Tavondre Sweat news was just crazy. I can't even imagine what it honestly feels like. Dude, quick question. How old are you?
Old. I'm older than your cats combined and cat years.
All right, you could tell me off screen, but I'm kind of getting to the point where like I don't really get excited for like Christmas and stuff like at all, really.
What?
And
you're
I like
a Grinch?
The time of year, but as far as I'm not anti, but I'm just saying like that.
You're a Grinch.
That kid excitement is just no longer there, unfortunately, like for holidays and stuff. But dude, free agency and the draft, it's that same feeling that I had. Like,
I'm more excited about free agency than. Oh yeah, no, I'm more excited about free agency than Christmas.
It's insane. Like for some reason, there's no other feeling that I get from that, like just so amped up and so excited. I mean, game one first game of the season is always like that too. But there's nothing like seeing like the free agency updates, going about your day, looking out at your phone, breaking news: New York Jets have agreed to terms to ... And you're like waiting, and then you see it's just really, really cool.
There's nothing better than like the first day of free agency and the Jets do absolutely nothing. And then you watch everybody panic going into day two. That's always a good time too. We're like, oh, they did nothing. They're sleeping. Like some guys at the combine. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of the yeah, speaking of sleeping at the combine, that was like the Joe Douglas era, just not doing anything on day one.
So are you going to be doing a stream for the draft was the question. You did it last year.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually just talking to my brother about it. So last year, my brother lived here with me. Since then, he's moved out. He lives in Bradenton, which is like an hour south. But he's coming back up. We're going to be streaming the draft day 1, day 2. I don't know what his work schedule is looking like, but he should be fully off for round 1. And he's a Bills fan. So it was so funny, man. He streamed the whole draft with me last year.
I remember.
And or no, not last year. It wasn't the Max Harrison year. He was pumped to see what the Bills were going to get at the back end of the first round. They traded out for pick 33 to get Keon Coleman. He's like, dude, I got to do this whole thing. Like, I got to go, sleep and get all excited again tomorrow. We just don't get a pick. So,
well, see what you see. But it's funny you say this. What Ian does is he watches the draft and he knows I'm getting annoyed. He has me call into his stream. Then he left me on with his brother. He didn't even talk to me. He just ignored me. He walked out. He's like, you know what? Talk to my brother. I'm out of here. That's what he did to me last year.
I remember that. What did I do? I think I just had to go to the bathroom or something.
He left me. Like, hey, welcome aboard, man. Talk about your thoughts. There you go. Out.
Is it really like? I mean, SARS. I didn't know my brother was that bad.
I'm like him, dude. I know he's the most professional guy out there, and this is what I'm dealing with. I'm supposed to be the chaos, and he gave me chaos, which is crazy. So,
hey man, you're always invited, but if you're not feeling it, you're not. It's totally fine with me.
Usually having cocktails is the problem. Having some beers. No, I didn't do a stream. I haven't done a stream the last 2 years. I went on his. I think I went on yours both days, round 1 and round 2. I think I went on yours, and then I kind of just hang out. So that's it. But thank you guys for joining us. This is almost an hour and 45 minutes. Again, Ian does phenomenal coverage every day with all the moves, all the reactions, and then next Monday, tampering period, free agent is going to be crazy. So check out his channel, our channel. Next week, this show will be on his 7 o'clock on Tuesday. And that's it. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. Be careful out there. And just think, no Kyler Murray and no Tua.
J-E-T-S